female version of a hustler. Of a hustler. Of a hustler. My diva is a female version of a hustler. Of a hustler. Of a hustler. When he pull up, wanna pop my hooter. Betty better have a six pack in the cooler. Getting money. Divas getting money. If you ain't getting money, then you ain't got nothing for me. Tell me something. Tell me something. Where your boss? Where your boss? So my ladies up in here that like to talk back. I wanna see ya. I like to meet ya. What you said? She ain't no diva. My diva is a female version of a hustler. Of a hustler. Of a hustler. My diva is a female version of a hustler. Of a hustler. Of a hustler. Since 15 in my stilettos is shredding in this game. What's your age? Was the question they asked when I hit the stage. I'm a diva, best believer. You see her, she getting paid. She ain't calling him the greatest, don't need him her best mate. His face is sticker. I need them bags, all that money. I'm a sticker. See the mask with that money. All my ladies get it up. I see you, I do the same. Take it to another level. No passengers on my plane. I'm not a diva. Hey. I'm not a diva. Hey. I'm not a diva. Hey. I'm not a diva. This is a stick up. I need them bags, all that money. Stick up. You see the mask with that money.
Don't you know that the God of mercy knows how painful it is for us to be separated one from another by death? Why would the God who gives us life, knowing that all of us are going to die, why would God want us at the time of death to be burdened with grief? It is natural to suffer sorrow for a loss of a loved one, but it is improper for the righteous to grieve, because grief is like a cancer. And when you cannot understand God's will in bringing him here, God's will in returning him to himself, then you grieve. You're not at peace with what God has caused to happen. And if you're not at peace with God, then this becomes a terrible event in the life of those who are left behind. So God has put in each of us what is necessary to run the race of life. There are certain hormones that are present in the brain, and when we're afraid, we can lift weights that we couldn't lift before, run faster than we ran before. But there's also hormones that cause us to bear the tragedies of life, the misfortunes of life. So all of us are going to experience misfortunes in this life. But the question is, how do you handle it? Who wants to be separated from a loved one? So how should we accept the angel of death? Don't you know that?
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:15. We are up live on Facebook. Be sure to like the WVON page. Interact with me. I'll be sure to talk back with you. If you would like to keep up with me exclusively, be sure to follow me across all social media platforms that follow Cleopatra. Like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel. Check that out. And I come to you with a message from the minister. That's right. It's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as we continue our discussion as his wife, his beloved wife, the mother of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, has made her transition to be with Allah. May he be pleased. And I am going to continue this segment because I believe that as the minister has continued to educate us throughout his entire dedication to his faith of not only just Islam, but being a Muslim and being steadfast in it and the rise of our people, it is encumbersome that we learn the ways. I enjoyed my time yesterday with Brother Muhammad, who serves at the ready. He's the assistant to the student minister, that is the assistant to Minister Farrakhan. And I appreciate our time. And Janazah was a word that stuck with me because as many of us are trying to figure out in this moment, and I wanted to talk through the voice of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan about death, because it is a part of life. And he talked about the pain that we will experience throughout life. You know, for those of us that are mothers, the pain that we endure to bring life, the trials and tribulations that we go through life, and the preparations that we make to be received out of this world and the afterlife, right? And there's so many iterations depending on your faith and understanding of, you know, what's after this, right? And in the Muslim faith, I wanted us to learn. So we will, because there will be a practice instituted that some of us know not of. But as I prepare to pay my respect, I look forward to learning and understanding. So I thought, you know, it would be wise because folks are curious, you know, do I send a card? Do I send flowers? You know, how do you support in this time? And I think those are all valid questions. And as the professor you all have bestowed upon me, that professorialship, and I'm so honored and pleased, class is definitely in session. And we will learn together, right? As a little girl, I can't necessarily remember. I'm sure I've been to a Muslim funeral. I know I have, but I don't, you know, it's a gray area. It's like I was thinking back when Joyce Chapman passed. That was my first Buddhist funeral, right? So, and may she continue to rest in peace. You know, as we go on in life, depending on our beliefs and the walks of how we practice our faith, you know, I think it's wise that we be educated. And I look forward to this chapter with you for not only a notable woman, not only a courageous woman, but a woman that has raised women. And I am talking about Mother Khadijah Muhammad. Raised women. That's something. You know, too often we use that term very loosely. And I make sure that I apply accordingly. You know, too often, you know, I can hear folks when my baby sister was younger. Oh, she's a young woman. No. She was a young lady. Now, the young lady I saw across the stage, she's a young woman. And she's walking into womanhood. And it's not easy making that transition because some folks are just suspended. And you just will never be what you're going to be. But it's something when you have the ability, there's a blessing, an anointment when you can raise women. And I've seen it through her. I've followed it, and I've met so many. So I look forward to walking us through this. And just to lay out the groundwork, today it is a turbulent Tuesday. I want you to buckle up, Buttercup. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Small, healthy habits can create lasting change. A daily walk, healthier meals, and more water can help improve your quality of life over time. And that's your Healthy Reminder.
This Healthy Reminder is sponsored in part by the South Suburban Chicago, Illinois chapter of The Links, Incorporated, and Vantive.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
This is Rufus Williams. Stop scrolling for a minute. If you missed my exclusive interview with Governor J.B. Pritzker, you need to really watch it, because this wasn't just another politician making talking points. This was a conversation about the issues that are hitting our community every single day. I pressed him on the violence that's tearing through Chicago. Where are the illegal guns really coming from? Why hasn't it stopped? And what is the state prepared to do about it? We tackled education, the state budget, the cost of living, voting rights, and I looked Governor Pritzker in the eye and asked him to make his case directly to Black Illinoisans as he seeks another 4 years. Don't let social media tell you what he said. Don't let political operatives tell you how to think. Hear the answers for yourself, then decide. That's the WVON difference. We ask the hard questions, we don't duck the tough conversations, and we trust you to make up your own mind. Watch the full interview now on Vine TV or on our YouTube channel. Then tell me where you stand.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
Sharpton. Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. We're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Rush hour has ended. We're watching these travel times come down. You are looking at a 22-minute trip, though, along the Ryan from 95th Street into downtown. Outbound, things are free-flowing. Things are also free-flowing along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial in both directions. Much quieter on DuSable Lakeshore Drive. You are looking at about a 16-minute trip from 67th Street to Jackson. We are seeing some minor stop-and-go traffic right around Roosevelt Road northbound. That's mainly due to that stoplight delay. Hollywood to Monroe, there are no problems to report. The Stevenson down to your posted speed in from I-355 to DuSable Drive and traveling out. A big improvement along the Eisenhower as well. You're down to just about 50 minutes from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. That outbound trip will take you 40. And the Kennedy, a 32-minute trip in from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, much better now, 29 minutes. Taking a look at our weather, not much better. Still pretty humid, a lot more humid than yesterday. The National Weather Service says we're looking at a daytime high of around 94, a low tonight, if you call it low, 78. We're up to 84 at Midway. It's 84 at the Obama Presidential Center and 84 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Anna Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And if I ever hurt you know I hurt myself as well.
And we are back. The time is 9:24. It's a turbulent Tuesday. And just to let you all know, I opened up with a clip from the Honorable Minister, Louis Farrakhan, who periodically throughout the life of my show, I love to raise up because his voice, it doesn't just hold value. It has weight. And he was talking to us about the angel of death and how it waits for all of us. And throughout our journey of life, how we will endure pain. And for those of us that beg the question, why would God, or whatever you spiritually acknowledge, bestow that upon us, particularly where grief is connected? And it is a part of life. So as I continue to raise the vibrations, as we pay homage and give tributes to the life of the first mother of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, I thought it was important to understand. You know, I think the cool part about the journey of life for me is that I'm a forever student and I enjoy the opportunity to learn, whether it's throughout the lens of various cultures, religions, and etc. When I lived in Paris, a part of my studies were not just the arts and history, but it was also religion. I took a religious course because I've always found it peculiar, these books that we hold sacred depending on our faith. For me, it was to unearth the through line. And you'll hear me talk about that a lot, you know, as we get to the core of the show. What I'm always chipping at is the through line of the interconnectivity of what maketh your garment. If you understand that, you understand when scripture said that she just wanted to touch the hem of his garment, just the hem of it. But if you know anything, as I do, particularly from a seamstress standpoint, that's a particular piece. And there are certain strings of our garment that hold it all together. And that's what I look at from a societal lens. No matter what, there are more things that we have alike than we do different. And ultimately, through that through line and time and space, there's some separatism, of course, but there's some interconnectivity. So I want us to raise our own understanding because, as I said, there will be a pilgrimage of those that will come wide and far to pay respects to Mother Khadijah, just as we did for the late, great Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. And too often, I feel as though in life we take things for granted for those that have walked this earth, particularly from Chicago. And the onus is on us as Black media to do this right. And I mean, juxtaposed to white mainstream media, I've watched all day for the most part, and not a one parsed their lips to acknowledge her life. Not that we need them to, but I just wanted to test the waters to see if they would. So as we walk through the rituals and the understandings, I am going the long game because I think it's encumbersome of us to want to understand more. You know, I think for us to understand what's at our ready, and the Nation of Islam has always been here, and the Mosque of Miriam. And I'm going to have somebody on to talk about that because I just thought that story was just jaw-dropping too. So there are certain things that I just find fascinating that we just take for granted in our own bubble here in the city of Chicago because our faith may not take us there, or your fear. And that's cool too. So when we come back, and I'm looking right now, breaking news, Supreme Court backs the GOP-led effort to lift campaign spending caps. The war has been begun. Now the ammunition is coming out. I need us to understand that. And I'm going to talk about that later in the show. The ammunition is coming out. You wanted the wolf to show teeth. And some of you all thought they were dentures. No, they're not. And the Supreme Court is the ammunition. And they are giving your president all the bullets he needs. May Allah have mercy on all of us. When we come back, I have a very special guest that is going to walk us through the practices of the Muslim faith of a funeral process so that we can know how and where and in what capacity, if you so choose to show up, not only to pay homage to Mother Khadijah, for those of us that just want to have understanding. We'll be back after this break.
Hot and sticky as temperatures climb well into the 90s. Good morning, I'm Annette Flournoy. Here's what's happening. Bally's Casino is exploring legal action against the city. Apparently, they've hired former Mayor Lori Lightfoot's law firm. Now, Crane Chicago Business is reporting that Bally's is questioning the city council's decision to allow video games in bars and restaurants. Now, Bally's says it violates their contract. Now, back in 2022, it was Lori Lightfoot who, as mayor, approved Bally's bid for a casino here in Chicago. A Chicago family is heartbroken and wants answers after a CTA worker was shot in the chest and later died during a would-be carjacking while on the clock. Perry Williams has more.
Police say Thomas Barlow was gunned down early yesterday morning during a carjacking. He was a switch operator and he was outside a rail maintenance facility on 98th Street when the shooting happened. CTA union officials continue their call for stronger protections for transit workers.
One life lost is one too many. We cannot allow another, not one more.
No one is in custody. I'm Perry Williams.
Cook County Crime Stoppers are offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Well, we remain under an extreme heat warning with humidity way up today above yesterday. The National Weather Service says we could experience some feel-like temperatures above 100 today and heat indices of between 105 and 110 in areas like Aurora, Joliet, Kankakee, and Waukegan. Mayor Brandon Johnson, along with officials from the city's Office of Emergency Management Communications, rolled out the city's plan for keeping everyone safe. Fire Commissioner Annette Nance Holt says that the fire department and the city has come a long way from the days of 1995 when as many as 759 people died from extreme heat.
We all work together to help each other. And that's what we continue to push out. The fire department also conducts well-being checks, which we did at that time. And that's when we found a lot of the issues that we did. And neighbors weren't checking on people. So we continue to do well-being checks. If someone calls in, we immediately go there and make a contact if we can. And our heart is not to see that happen to any family member, to find out you lost your loved one because someone failed to check in on them or to ensure they had adequate conditions in their apartment or house.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says today, along with partnerships and lessons learned, things like that will not happen to folks.
Of course, the coordination is what is most significant here. When I talk about the full force of government, that's what's on display, right? So you have your parks, your libraries, as cooling centers, DFSS coordinating with all of our departments. Street outreach workers are available. Those well-being checks have extended beyond senior facilities or homes where seniors live. But the strongest aspect of what's different from when I was in high school to today is the fact that there's stronger coordination between departments.
Chicago city's, the city's cooling sites are open now. They opened at 9 o'clock and will remain open until 5 this evening. You can call 311 for the cooling center near you. Also, Chicago public libraries and police stations will serve as cooling sites as well. And folks are also advised to check on relatives, neighbors, and seniors, and of course, pay special attention to your pets. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 9:34.
What's up, Chicago? The movement is growing and the time is now. Join Chicago Reparations as they work to advance justice through advocacy, education, and community engagement. This summer, be a part of a powerful lineup of events, including Reparations Town Hall, Emerald and Pearl Awards, cocktails and conversations, lunch and learns, a taste of gospel, and the world-famous Rib Fest. Whether you are looking to learn, connect, advocate, or celebrate, there's a place for you. Get involved today at Chicago Reparations and follow Chicago Reparations on social media for updates. Get your tickets now at eventbrite.com/Chicago Reparations. This isn't just a conversation, it's a movement. Get on board Chicago Reparations now.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. Thousands of homeowners have trusted Blindster.com for their blinds that are easy to order, affordable, and guaranteed to fit. You measure at home, install yourself, and enjoy blinds made exactly for your windows. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No major changes in your travel time since our last break, but we're still monitoring the situation on the south side in the greater Grand Crossing neighborhood at 75th and South Chicago Avenue, where crews are still on the scene as they clean up following a pretty serious pin-end crash that involved multiple injuries. CTA at this time is still rerouting the number 30 South Chicago buses. Taking a look at our weather on the muggy side of things today, much muggier than yesterday, with a lot more humidity to deal with. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of around 94. Tonight, temperatures will level off around 78, so no cooling in sight. Temperatures pretty steady in the mid-80s right now. We're looking at 84 at O'Hare, is 84 in Harvey, and 84 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Fernoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Over and over again, I try to tell myself that we could never be more than friends. And all the while inside, I knew it was real.
And we are back. The time is 9:37. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And listen, guys, I opened up with a powerful message from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as he spoke to us about the angel of death and life and the inevitability, how it awaits all of us. However, it's what you do with it in terms of your preparation. Because grief and pain is a part of life. As a mother, I totally understand that. But as a person, we all have to make room to accept that. And this is day 2 of my tribute to Mother Khadijah, who was the first lady of the Nation of Islam and was married to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for 72 years. I admire that. But it's more than that. I talked about her ability, which I define to be a gift, of raising women. That's something. And all of her contributions that was spoke about yesterday, I thought it'd be wise, because I started to sift through a number of calls of, well, Cleopatra, how do we pay our respect? What do we do? Especially for those of us that aren't practicing in the faith of Muslim. You know, do we send a card? How do we show up? And for those that are making the voyage. So it dawned on me as I was having the interview yesterday, Janazah is the practice that will be instituted for believers in the funeral process. So I thought it would be wise for us to be educated, right? Because I think that is another gift that we can either indulge in or refuse, but yet and still the world will revolve, whether you know it or not. And because it's a turbulent Tuesday with all of the foolishness that's going on in the world, I thought we would just, enclose ourselves in this moment in the remembrance of Mother Khadijah. And then for us to understand, what this process is going to be like, I have a very special guest. Student Minister Abel Muhammad is going to join us. Welcome to the Cleopatra Show.
Thank you, dear sister, and greetings to you. It's an honor to be with you. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and our heart as a nation of Islam for the Creator, Allah God, putting it on your heart to honor our beloved mother in such a fashion.
I'm very humbled by that. I'm grateful, and the commitment and the belief of the tall shoulders that I stand on at WVON to do so. And I found it very intriguing how it hasn't been done on mainstream, but it is an honor to do so for around the globe, because around the globe, her impact and love was felt. And
that's right.
I believe it, right? I truly do. And I've been at the presence of both the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and Mother Khadijah since I was a child. So I just think it's only right to walk us through what's appropriate for those of us that would like to pay homage. So I thank you for, taking this time, student minister, to teach us all.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And I wanted to thank you and share with our listeners and our brothers and sisters who would like to show their respect and come, but maybe have never attended, as you mentioned, what is called a Salat al-Janazah or Janazah, which is the Arabic word for the funeral service and the funeral prayer. But it's more than just one day. That word Janazah, it's rooted in the Arabic, which means to wrap or to prepare a body for a funeral. So it encompasses the prayers, the preparation of the body, the washing of the body, the shrouding and covering of the body, all the way to the actual service of the prayers being officiated and then to the internment. So it is the whole process of what in English we call the funeral service, the procession, the preparation, and even at the cemetery. And in Islam, and under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the janazah or the funeral service is a little bit different than those who've only experienced the services in a Christian funeral or even other religious ceremonies. The Muslim janazah funeral service is very much about bringing comfort to the family. So there are no sad songs because our beloved who has transitioned can't hear them anymore. We don't have a lot of flowers or flowers present because the beloved who's passed on can't see them anymore. And we don't do eulogies at a janazah, even though there are, I'm sure, plenty of people who would have magnificent stories and memories and words that they would share about our beloved who has passed. We don't share those in that setting, not at the janazah. Those could be shared at a memorial or even at the repast later. But the janazah is a very sacred, a very solemn, and it's designed ultimately to bring comfort to the family. And it's not a very long service necessarily. There are words of comfort that are given by the minister or the person officiating. There may be the reading of the obituary as well of the person. But then after that, in the Muslim world, traditionally, there's a prayer that is said in silence. But here in the Nation of Islam, under the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we utter the prayers in Arabic and in English because so many of our people have never experienced it before, the funeral service of a Muslim. We don't want them to walk away wondering, what was that? What were we saying? We want to be clear and educate our people on the beauty of the way that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had given us for our life and even for our death.
And I thank you for that. And I get two double scoops. So I want to create more space to welcome Student Minister Jeffrey Muhammad to join us in conversation, as you just laid out beautifully, what the ambiance is. Student Minister Jeffrey Muhammad, join us.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. So I thank both of you all because I feel extra special. I got two student ministers to enlighten us. And student minister Abel Muhammad, you were doing a beautiful job of just creating the ambiance. And it is a bit of a stark difference when you say, you give us the reasons as to why, but traditionally for those of us that have went to Christian funerals, there are no eulogies. There are very to little to no flowers. And from a sensical standpoint, I hear you. The actual person that we're there to mourn cannot hear nor participate or see. And I receive that. Student Minister Jeffrey Muhammad, as you were listening to student minister Abel Muhammad roll it out, what would you add? What color would you bring to this picture to help us understand more of what the space would consist of?
Oh, my brother did an absolutely beautiful job. And I would just sign on with him to our services as given to us from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad are rooted in the history of Prophet Muhammad, who, when Allah raised him, designed the funeral service of Janazah to focus back on humility, mercy, and compassion. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, having gotten most of us out of a Christian country, we saw that the funeral services that had become dominant in this country became more with impact on the mercy and compassion of the family. Singing is beautiful, but it has such an impact on the family, it can increase their pain, their discomfort, their mourning. Words that people share, and we've all been to a lot of funerals where a lot of people share words. There's appropriate time where you can have that at memorial because we all have a story to share of our loved one. But at the services, it's more painful, more impactful to the family. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not incorporate that. He kept with the two chief attributes of Allah that's mentioned in the beginning of every chapter in the Holy Quran, the scripture of Muslims: beneficence and mercy. And as brother said beautifully, no eulogy, words of comfort, because our services are not for the dead. Our services are those that are still living. And a message is given to comfort, but a message is also given to remind the audience that there is but one God and that this is the inevitable of all of our lives. And then instructions are given that as a family, what will we do now after the passing of this person? So I'd just be the piece that I would add after Brother Minister Abel, who did a beautiful job.
I think you both did. I think for me, and we're going to take a quick break, but the takeaway that just heightened my understanding is the opportunity of us assembling is for the living. And traditionally, rewiring my brain to step away from the concept of the deceased.
That's right.
There'll be more when we come back, guys. I told you, class is in session. Buckle up, Buttercup. It's a Turbulent Tuesday. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Some voices don't just sing, they make you feel something. Few artists did that better than Donny Hathaway. Raised in Chicago, Hathaway combined gospel, soul, jazz, and classical music into a sound that was both powerful and deeply personal. Whether performing A Song for You, The Ghetto, or his beloved duets with Roberta Flack, his voice carried a depth of emotion that continues to inspire artists today. A gifted singer, pianist, composer, and arranger, Donny Hathaway helped elevate soul music into an art form that was both intimate and timeless. From Chicago to the world, his music remains a masterclass in heart, honesty, and musical excellence. Donny Hathaway gave Chicago its soundtrack, and the world never stopped listening.
Brought to you by AARP, a proud supporter of Black Music Month.
It's D.L. Hughley.
When you see things like what happened in Virginia, where they had a special election and expanded seats for the Democrats, Republicans have been putting their fingers on the scale of the elections forever. They've always done it. They'd always gerrymandered. But now they have gerrymandered everything to the nth degree that they don't have any more room to gerrymander. And now these Democrats have picked up 10 to 12 seats. Even after this is all over, we got to get back to people who are involved in the pedophile ring. We got to get back to ICE brutalizing people. So the war is a distraction, but from some pretty horrible that we got to get back to.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi there, it's Morgan Freeman.
I'm here to talk to you about a serious heart condition that's often missed. ATTR cardiac amyloidosis is a condition that can disrupt your life with fatigue, shortness of breath, and carpal tunnel. If left untreated, ATTR-CM may become serious, leading to a shorter lifespan. If you are experiencing these symptoms or have ATTR-CM, talk to your doctor to learn more. It's time to get busy living. Brought to you by Bridge Bio.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart, it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition smart bed for a limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No changes in your travel times. It's break but new. We're tracking a new accident in Harvey. It's happened at 167th Street in Halstead. You want to steer clear if at all possible. And that earlier situation on the south side, the Grand Crossing neighborhood at 79th and South Chicago Avenue, apparently things have been cleared. Earlier there was a pin-in crash involving multiple injuries there. CTA for quite a bit of time had to reroute the number 30 South Chicago buses. They are now back on schedule. Taking a look at our weather, we're seeing some humid conditions across the city, a lot more humid than yesterday. Temperatures climbing well into the 90s today. Right now, we're still above the 80s right now. We're looking at 86 at O'Hare, is 86 in Harvey, and 86 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flurnoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 9:53. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And I have a very special segment, and I got two scoops. That's right. I have two student ministers with me, both Minister Abel Muhammad and student minister Jeffrey Muhammad. And I asked them both to join us to educate and enlighten us about Janazah, right? And its practice, particularly as we continue to raise the vibrations and attribute to the life well lived by the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, that's Mother Khadijah Muhammad, whom was the wife of 72 years to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And in my acknowledgement of her, she's raised women around the globe. And that's I think that is just phenomenal. It is no easy feat raising men. And too often we don't hear the commitment to raising women.
That's right.
And I think that is a beautiful attribute. So student ministers, as folks are processing, well, if we, with respect to Janazah and the Islamic practice of a funeral preparation, giving flowers to the living is the goal, not those that have made their transition. Reserving eulogies, right, and sad songs. How can we be contributors? I mean, we want to be present, but what more can we do for those of us that aren't Muslims or practicing in the faith?
I would say, dear sister, that of course, number one would be to keep the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, his family, all of those who Mother Khadijah Farrakhan affected in their life, those untold numbers of people that she was an example for and that she helped raise and to teach, keep those who are living in your prayers. Ask God's comfort and strength for them. Sending a kind word, a kind call, a kind text, an email, a card, those things are absolutely, of course, acceptable and maybe even I would even venture to say necessary, because it shows those who are left from the family of the one who has departed, it gives them an opportunity to feel and see the impact of the life that they loved so dearly. And it gives us an opportunity to show our support and our gratitude to Allah God for giving us this gift that he is now called back to himself. But we don't want to be found ungrateful. We want to show our gratitude, yes, with our prayers, with our tears, if we want to give a donation for the family, if we want to send a plant, a flower, those things are wonderful. They just don't happen at the actual funeral service. They can be sent to them in another capacity, whether it's at the Mosque Mariam or even if it's on social media, so many have done, putting their thoughts, putting their prayers, putting their memories out there. The family loves to see it because it brings them joy to see the joy that Mother Khadijah brought to so many of our people. And for so many years, as you mentioned, dear sister, 72 years of being the wife of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but she has been constant and consistent. And we want to honor her. We want to show our appreciation for her to the one who gave her to us, Almighty God. And the way we do that is by showing gratitude, by saying, thank you, God. Thank you for giving us this precious life.
And I think that that is a beautiful sentiment that seems to reverberate in cherishing life because we're on borrowed time. And I believe we talked about that just yesterday, student minister Jeffrey Muhammad.
That's right.
And in that borrowed time, as I can think back to many of messages from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what do you do with that time? What do we do with that time? And as I hear you, student minister Abel Muhammad, you pour into not only those that are living, but you strengthen your faith.
That's right. That's right. And it could be, unfortunately, and it's part of the prayers that we will say at the Janazah. There's a portion in the prayer where we're asking God, don't let us fall into a trial after our loved one is now departed. And unfortunately, in this world, how often do we see that happening? Where when somebody is now gone, now the family, because the pillar of the family oftentimes has now departed, there becomes these negative attributes that come forth. And it's a test for us when God takes something so precious from us. And how precious, is there anything really more precious than mother? And for her to be not just the mother of a family and her personal 9 children, but for her to be the mother of a nation of people. And I can personally just testify that since the first time I ever was blessed to meet Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, all I felt was the incomparable, magnificent, pure, and beautiful love of a mother.
Well,
like I was her own son. She would be so just happy and smile. Every memory I have of her is with a just magnificent smile and taking your hand like mom should and would, and just ask how are you doing? How are the children? Every time Mother Khadijah would see children, she didn't have to know them. They didn't have to be related to her by blood, but she loved our children, and she loved children and people just in general. And she would just want to hold them and shower her love on them. And that is something so precious that unfortunately we don't experience enough of that in this world. So that's why this is such a difficult moment to be in, But together and with the help of God, and through even the process of this janazah, it's designed to help us endure and overcome whatever difficulties and grief or sorrow this may introduce into our life, but we don't want to stay in that condition because God is not asking us to stay in that condition, and he didn't allow this to put us in that condition, but he does want us to reflect, and that is what the service is for. As Brother Student Minister Jeffrey mentioned earlier, the janazah is not really for the deceased. The funeral is for those of us who are still here and alive. What are we going to do? We see the magnificent example of Mother Khadijah Farrakhan and a life of 90 years of giving and pouring into other human beings. What are we going to do with the minutes and the hours and the days and the hopefully and prayerfully years that we have left with our lives?
Here's what I'm going to do, because that message was so profound. I'm going to ask you all to stay on with us, because I do want to unpack one concept. You shared a beautiful moment or moments that you spent in her presence, and I think that that is wonderful. And you've expounded upon what it means to go and be a part of a janazah. And I would love to have some of the language so that folks can hear. And I would encourage folks to be present. When we come back, I have two scoops. That's right. I have both Brother Student Minister Abel Muhammad and Brother Student Minister Jeffrey Muhammad, and they are hanging out on the TCS to bless us with encouragement and understanding as Mother Khadijah Farrakhan makes her transition to be with Allah, and may he be pleased. We'll be back.
Humid and hot on this final day of June 30th, 2026. I'm Annette Flournoy, and in the headlines, new this hour, the Supreme Court this morning has struck down President Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship. The justices made it clear that Trump cannot change the definition of birthright citizenship with the stroke of a pen. Services for Khadijah Farrakhan, the wife of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, begins 10 a.m. tomorrow. Mother Khadijah will lie repose at the Mosque Miriam on South Stony Island Avenue Wednesday and Thursday. Her janazah is set for 11 a.m. Friday. And we remain under an extreme heat warning with humidity way above yesterday and feel like temperatures of above 100. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the Voice of a Nation and the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 10:03.
There's BIN News now. 2 police investigations are underway in Livonia, Michigan, after police shot and killed a 61-year-old man Sunday night. The probe is being done by Michigan State Police. Livonia police are investigating a suspected explosion and arson at the man's home that started their investigation.
We went to the fireworks, and when we came back, the whole street was filled with police officers.
Police say he was found in a neighbor's backyard with a handgun when police arrived, and they shot him when he raised his gun toward them. Governor Mike DeWine is urging Ohioans to stay safe during the heat wave that is impacting the region this week. The governor says prolonged heat exposure is dangerous, and he wants everyone to take steps to protect themselves. And each member of the 2026 NBA champion New York Knicks will be honored with a street temporarily named after them in New York City. I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News. Now, back to you, Terry.
The U.S. Supreme Court delivering mixed news to President Trump in a series of decisions. The High Court found Trump cannot fire Black Federal Reserve Board member Lisa Cook, allowing her to remain on the job for now as she challenges allegations against her. The justices ruled that mail-in ballots received after Election Day can be counted if they're postmarked by Election Day. And the court rejected Trump's bid to overturn the verdict that found he sexually assaulted and defamed E. Jean Carroll. The High Court issuing the decision yesterday. The ruling means the $5 million civil judgment and the verdict will remain in place. President Trump says he's unsure if he'll sign the bipartisan housing bill. It's currently on his desk after it sailed through the House and Senate last week.
I think it's so
unimportant by compared to the Save America Act.
Trump has held up its passage, pushing Republicans to kill the filibuster and instead pass his Save America voter ID bill first.
2026 is the year of affordability. The American people have been desperately seeking housing, and President Trump got it right in his State of the Union when he said housing should be for people and not for corporations.
South Carolina's Black Senator Tim Scott delivering a floor speech several days ago on the 21st Century Road to Housing Act passage, but Trump said everything is a yawn compared to passing the Save America Act. The housing bill is an attempt to address housing shortages. The fate of the legislation now rests with the president, and if Trump does not sign, the bill will become law with no action after 10 days, or he can decide to veto it. Stephen A. Smith is predicting that Democrats have a 75% chance of winning the midterm elections and gaining control of at least one of the chambers of Congress, but he says they could still blow it. Smith said Democrats get in their own way. They'll mess up anything if you give them an opportunity because they're divided. The Hill reports Smith went on to reference the progressive left, pointing out, in his words, what happened in New York with Zohran Mamdani and some of the candidates he endorsed. And then he blasted what Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to do in California. Smith said there's a level of progressivism that's taking hold in states like New York and California. Smith attended the Mark Twain Prize ceremony at the Kennedy Center over the weekend. Gunmen opening fire on a South African police official. Major General Faraz Khan was riding in his vehicle in Johannesburg days before he was expected in court for a high-profile inquiry into alleged corruption and criminal networks within the country's law enforcement. Khan, the suspended deputy head of crime intelligence, was wounded in the weekend attack and underwent emergency surgery. Authorities say an investigation into the incident is underway. The Madlanga Commission was established after serious claims by the lieutenant governor about organized crime infiltrating parts of the state and law enforcement agencies. Khan was among those called to give evidence after his name came to light during proceedings. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
Depression doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion, anger, or isolation. Check on yourself and each other.
Your health, our community, for WVON.
Your health journey doesn't require perfection, just consistency. One healthy choice today can become a healthier future tomorrow, and that's your Healthy Reminder.
This Healthy Reminder is sponsored in part by the South Suburban Chicago, Illinois chapter of The Links, Incorporated, and Vantiv.
This is Rufus Williams. Stop scrolling for a minute. If you missed my exclusive interview with Governor J.B. Pritzker, you need to really watch it, because this wasn't just another politician making talking points. This was a conversation about the issues that are hitting our community every single day. I pressed him on the violence that's tearing through Chicago. Where are the illegal guns really coming from? Why hasn't it stopped? And what is the state prepared to do about it? We tackled education, the state budget, the cost of living, voting rights, and I looked Governor Pritzker in the eye and asked him to make his case directly to Black Illinoisans as he seeks another 4 years. Don't let social media tell you what he said. Don't let political operatives tell you how to think. Hear the answers for yourself, then decide. That's the WVON difference. We ask the hard questions, we don't duck the tough conversations, and we trust you to make up your own mind. Watch the full interview now on Vine TV or on our YouTube channel. Then tell me where you stand.
Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik. You've seen him on cable TV. Now hear his spirited conversation on the Talk of Chicago. The question at hand is raising voices of the Negro. That plain and simple. Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. Thousands of homeowners have trusted Blindster.com for their blinds that are easy to order, affordable, and guaranteed to fit. You measure at home, install yourself, and enjoy blinds made exactly for your windows. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still no major train changes in your travel times, but we are tracking a couple incidents right now. The Kennedy is solid between Montrose and Foster. That's due to an accident involving an IDOT maintenance worker. Apparently, right now, that left lane remains blocked, causing that major delay. As you make your way in and around the south side, there is a report of an accident at the intersection of 95th and Colfax. Taking a look at our weather, pretty hot and muggy today again. The National Weather Service says we're headed well into the 90s today. We're looking at an official daytime high of 94, but if you factor in the humidity and heat, it could be a feel-like temperature of above 100 today. Tonight, temperatures are expected to level off at around 78. Notice I didn't say cool off. Right now, they're hovering in the mid-80s. We're still holding on to 86 in Midway, is 86 in Harvey, and 86 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
In June, we are united in pride. We are WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's Essential Storyteller, 1690 WVON.
He found that grocery store. Don't you know that was a sad, sad old day? All of your young life you feel such a misery and pain. But the truth that you live and it ain't gonna change. You're so young, you got so far to go. Don't think you're reachable, young man. Everybody will go.
Their problems create peace among themselves. I've been married to my wife's Mother Khadijah for 68 long years. And I knew her when she was 8 and I was 11. And this is the honest to God truth. I love this girl so much that when I became so popular as a young musician in Boston, all the girls loved their Jean. Jean was what they called me, and they loved me. But I was in love with Betsy.
Go ahead, brother.
And we are back. The time is 10:13. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. Did that make you smile? That was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan confessing his love for his love of his life. At that time, it was 68 years, but they lived to see 72 years in union together.
That's right.
And I think that is so special. At the tender age of 8 and 11, he knew.
Come on now.
And I just wanted to play some real love and some real honesty on a turbulent Tuesday, because the world is in shambles. But one thing about what held us together, it is people that has been upon our lives, pressed upon our lives for us to do better along the journey of life. And that's
That's
the
right.
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, who has made her transition to be with Allah, may he be pleased. And I have the privilege to continue to pay homage and give a tribute to her life. And we are talking this out with 2 scoops of student ministers. That's right. I have student minister brother Abel Muhammad and student minister brother Jeffrey Muhammad. And I would love to get your take. I'll start with you, brother Jeffrey Muhammad, on the Honorable Minister's confession of love for his wonderful wife. I just thought that was so sweet.
I have never, well, I'll put it like this. I feel so blessed, humbled, and as my Christian brothers and sisters say, highly favored to have seen them, witnessed them with my eyes, heard him celebrate his wife, and as Minister Abel said, to see her beautiful smile every time we saw her. I see Mother Khadijah was the epitome of the word kind. the epitome of the word humble. She is the absolute priceless example of a human being that was loving in every aspect of her life. But their relationship, as we said yesterday, we should write manuals, we should study, should be written of in college, of the success of marriages. Christian pastors, Muslim, Jewish, whatever your religious base, should study their lives as a couple and how with their relationship and their faith in Almighty God Allah and their striving to be one with Him and with each other and being committed to a mission for the resurrection of their people, sustained, uplifted, and kept them together. Their love was the mortar that in truth made all of us join the nation. She was as much a part of my journey as him. To see her stand with him made me to reflect on my mother, who I lost very early in my life. But it was such an honor to be able to say mother and to have just a few brief moments to be in her presence, but to be able to feel her spirit and feel his love opened my mind as a young Black man that didn't always have the best image of relationships. But to see them expanded my thinking to know that love will conquer all.
And thank you for that. And student minister, Brother Abel Muhammad, you know, I just learned something. And this was a long time ago for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but you heard him say Gene is what they call me. So I thought that was a really interesting innuendo. I'm always looking for little jewels, little drops here and there, and to know that he was a musician. You know, I'm always willing to learn. So when you hear him talk about his love and his long memory from when he first laid eyes on her, she was 8 and he was 11. I just think that that's so cute. What's your take on it?
You know, for me, as Brother Student Minister Jeffrey just mentioned as well, it's inspiring. I've been blessed. Me and my wife just completed 25 years of marriage this year. But when you look down from 25 up to 72, that's a long, long way. And I feel blessed, but it has been the example and the love and the care of both the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and our beloved Mother Khadijah Farrakhan that have always been the example and the standard of, so that we can refine ourselves and get better, knowing that, that we still got a long way to go, and let's be patient with ourselves. But that love and that you heard it there in the minister's voice on his reflection. And I've heard him you've heard him in many different lectures and settings talk about she was the only one in his eyes. That was no one who compares with Khadijah. And that's the way he would say it. I wouldn't say it like that because that was his wife. But Mother Khadijah to us, she was so magnificent in every aspect of mother, woman, teacher. She sewed. I was looking at how she would put together the sisters' garments. And she was like a seamstress helping to put on all the decorations that you see and the embroidery and different things that you see on the different beautiful garments that the Muslim women wear. She was the one staying up all night to make sure that those were perfect. She was the first secretary in the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam. She was the one that was keeping the records. She was helping to put out the Final Call newspaper. She was helping to do so much. She had so many talents and gifts to show us that the woman's base is in the home, but that base is just where she stays and is founded in. It's not where she stays, it's where she's foundation is found. And from there, she can go anywhere that her gifts and talents take her, but her humility. We have been as a community and a nation and a people blessed to have a magnificent example of this Black woman with love for her husband, love for her children, love for her people, but above all, love for her God.
And I thank you for that. I actually
Can I add, brother?
give me 1
Abel,
second because I'm up against a break and I
Yeah.
love this energy.
Okay.
I just had a wonderful idea because, I would love to expound when we come back your roles because we teaching, right? And I don't take it lightly that you both are student ministers. And I've just expounded what this week is going to look like. So when we come back, guys, I have 2 scoops. That's right. I have both student minister brother Abel Muhammad and student minister brother Jeffrey Muhammad. And we are expounding upon life. And we are in the celebration of life when we are paying tribute to the first lady of the Nation of Islam, and that's Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. When we come back, we're going to continue to unpack this. And I have something I'm going to roll out, something very special. You don't want to miss this.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. It's D.L. Hughley.
He has the lowest approval rating of any president in history. It is so bad, they stopped doing polls. The job numbers are so bad, they stopped tabulating. If you look at the most unpopular leaders in the world, it is Netanyahu and him over North Korea and Russia.
They've been pretty chill.
So don't act like this is just something people are reacting to because he used the Constitution like Sharman.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Some voices don't just sing, they make you feel something. Few artists did that better than Donny Hathaway. Raised in Chicago, Hathaway combined gospel, soul, jazz, and classical music into a sound that was both powerful and deeply personal. Whether performing A Song for You, The Ghetto, or his beloved duets with Roberta Flack, his voice carried a depth of emotion that continues to inspire artists today. A gifted singer, pianist, composer, and arranger, Donny Hathaway helped elevate soul music into an art form that was both intimate and timeless. From Chicago to the world, his music remains a masterclass in heart, honesty, and musical excellence. Donny Hathaway gave Chicago its soundtrack, and the world never stopped listening.
Brought to you by AARP, a proud supporter of Black Music Month.
At ComEd, we create financial assistance programs with you in mind. It's one reason we created SAM, our smart assistance manager, to help families like yours take control of their energy bills. SAM can help you find financial assistance and payment options. Discover programs like budget billing, due date extensions, deferred payment arrangements, and more. You may be relieved to discover what you're eligible for. Learn more at ComEd.com/SAM. ComEd, powering lives.
It's the afternoon show.
Those people that are saying, I am not my ancestors, are speaking from a place of privilege only given to them by their ancestors. So how can you come here now, right, when they've shed all the blood, when they've been bitten by all the dogs, when they've been hosed down by all the hoses, when they've been slapped in the face by all the cops, and here you come after laws have been passed to say what you wouldn't allow. I am not my ancestors. I think that is insanely disrespectful.
Weekdays at 3 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart, it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition smart bed for a limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Protect your money and build your wealth. Sundays at 3 p.m. Host and owners of Top and Top Insurance Agency, Clydell and Betty Top, teach you about protecting your assets, 401ks, annuities, life after retirement, the differences and benefits of life insurance. And they take questions. Their advice can enhance your financial future and your legacy. Call for a free WVON financial consultation, 773-881-8110. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. to protect your money and build your wealth. Powered by Top and Top Insurance Agency.
WVON traffic and weather now.
As you make your way along the inbound Ryan, we're looking at just about a 17-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown. Outbound, there are no problems or delays. Things are pretty light as well along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial. Things are also quiet along DuSable Lakeshore Drive each way. As you make your way along the Stevenson, no major changes there. You are moving along at the posted speed as you make your way from I-355 to DuSable Drive and back again. The Eisenhower steady at just about 45 minutes in from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, that outbound trip at 40. But on the Kennedy, we are seeing some big problems. Inbound, still about a 35-minute trip from O'Hare to downtown, but right now getting to the airport pretty slow. That's due to an earlier accident involving an IDOT maintenance worker right there at Foster Avenue. Traffic right now backed up all the way to Montrose, pretty solid at this time. Taking a look at our weather. It is hot and muggy. The National Weather Service says temperatures will climb well into the 90s, but when you factor in the heat index, it could feel above 100 at times. 78 is our low tonight, if you want to call that low. Temperatures steadily climbing throughout the 80s early this morning. Right now, we're looking at 87 degrees at Midway. It's 87 in Inglewood and 87 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
When you really love someone, give it up.
And we are back. The time is 10:27. And listen, guys, you're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And before I wrap up with my two scoops of both student ministers, Brother Abel Muhammad and Brother Jeffrey Muhammad, I wanted either of you all to speak to Proverbs 31:10 through 31. I believe it's a tribute to an excellent wife. And as we are talking about the life well lived of the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, I think that this is so befitting for her.
That proverb sums her up. It came to mind as student minister Abel was describing Mother Khadijah, and for him to share of her attention to detail with the sisters' uniforms as the nation was rebuilding, as her husband was building women, dressing them in righteousness, good character, good morals. She was helping to dress them in terms of outfits. But the proverb says, an excellent wife, who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. That describes Mother Khadijah to the T. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, throughout his ministry, throughout his life with her, has always held her up as his partner, his best friend, his comrade, his sister, the love of his life, and always reminding us of her contribution to the ministry, to the work of the building of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's mission. So when I hear that scripture, I see her. I see her as the jewel of her husband's heart. And I see the epitome of what is considered an excellent wife.
I think that that is blessed. So here's what I was going to share. I've just worked out the rest of the week with concepts. And I thank you both for not only pouring into the listening audience, but me. So here's what I'm going to do. Every day this week, with the days that are remaining, I am going to continue my tributes, but I think I'm going to do it in a uniquely special way. You said something profound. Throughout the rebuild of the nation, the first lady of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, served as the first secretary. That historical concept intrigues me, and it speaks to a chapter that is not often introduced, and I think is important. And it was extremely important role, and I know that both politically and just the direction of leadership alone. I would like to tap into that. Furthermore, there's a concept of what is done cannot be undone. And I was sharing with my super producer off air how that is a rooted principle and a very unique practice that requires discipline. And I'm intrigued by it. Last but not least, I got to do something in tribute to the supreme being, right? I think the movement of the bean pies have been both a cultural fixture, but one that
That's
is a
right.
liberating fixture of entrepreneurship that enables the brothers and sisters of the Nation of Islam to not only remain free, but be free, and free to not eat well, but do well. I think that that is interesting. So what we're going to do is I'm going to work with you all, and we're going to continue to roll this out, because I think that this is a prime opportunity to raise not only the vibration, but our understanding of the work that will continue. Because like you all said about Janazah, this is an opportunity for the living. And I definitely think I'm very thankful to be a part of this journey with you.
And we thank you, dear sister. And if I could, I believe when you announced earlier the viewing for Mother, it will only be on Thursday. I think initially it was
Yes,
Wednesday and
I saw the
Thursday. But
adjustment. Yes.
good. I wanted to make sure. I thought we had said Thursday, so I wanted to make sure we were clear on that. But it is an honor to assist you in helping to raise and make sure that the world knows the real story of who this magnificent woman is in our history now, and how she has, in a very humble and quiet way, been the real rock and the wind beneath the wings of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and our nation.
Well, I thank you, and I look forward to having you both back. I really appreciate the time shared, and please give my best to Minister Ishmael for all of what he's doing, especially to share you all with us. It means so much to us.
Thank you, dear sister, for the great honor. And
All
for
right,
your
guys.
continued work and blessings.
Absolutely. Listen, when we come back, it is a turbulent Tuesday, and we're going to step into some chaos. I appreciate the opportunity to be at peace amongst the brothers, and now we must walk into the world. And in this world, all is going up in smoke, but yet we will rise from the ashes. We'll be back after this break.
We're under some extreme conditions across the Chicago area, muggy, hot, and humid as temperatures climb well into the 90s. Good morning. I'm Annette Vernoy, and here's what's happening. Services for Khadijah Farrakhan, the wife of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is set to start 10 a.m. tomorrow. Mother Khadijah will lie repose at the Mosque Miriam on South Stony Island Avenue Wednesday. Her Janazah starts at 11 a.m. on Friday, on February 3rd at the mosque. She will be buried at Oakwood Cemetery in the Greater Grand Crossing neighborhood. She was known as Mother Khadijah and the First Lady of the Nation of Islam. She worked alongside Minister Farrakhan to help lead the nation's social and political endeavors. The couple raised 9 children and were married for 72 years. She was 90. A Chicago family is heartbroken and wants answers after a CTA worker was shot in the chest and later died during a would-be carjacking while on the clock. Perry Williams has more.
Police say Thomas Barlow was gunned down early yesterday morning during a carjacking. He was a switch operator and he was outside a rail maintenance facility on 98th Street when the shooting happened. CTA union officials continue their call for stronger protections for transit workers.
One life lost is one too many. We cannot allow another, not one more.
No one is in custody. I'm Perry Williams.
Bally's Casino exploring legal action against the city. Apparently, they've hired former Mayor Lori Lightfoot's law firm. Crane Chicago Business is reporting that Bally's is questioning the city council's decision to allow video games in bars and restaurants. Now, Bally's says it violates their contract. Now, back in 2022, it was Lori Lightfoot, who was mayor at the time, who approved Bally's bid for a casino in Chicago. Well, beaches and pools are expected to be packed today. We remain under an extreme heat warning with humidity way above yesterday. The National Weather Service says we could experience some feel-like temperatures above 100 today, and with heat indices of between 105 and 110 in areas like Aurora, Joliet, Kankakee, and Waukegan. Mayor Brandon Johnson, along with officials from the City Office of Emergency Management Communications, rolled out the city's plan for keeping everyone safe. Fire Commissioner Annette Nance Holt says the fire department and the city has come a long way from the days of the 1995 era when as many as 759 people died from extreme heat.
We all work together to help each other. And that's what we continue to push out. The fire department also conducts well-being checks, which we did at that time. And that's when we found a lot of the issues that we did. And neighbors weren't checking on people. So we continue to do well-being checks. If someone calls in, we immediately go there and make a contact if we can. And our heart is not to see that happen to any family member, to find out you lost your loved one because someone failed to check in on them or to ensure they had adequate conditions in their apartment or house.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says it's all about partnerships and on how to keep people safe.
Of course, the coordination is what is most significant here. When I talk about the full force of government, that's what's on display, right? So you have your parks, your libraries, as cooling centers, DFSS coordinating with all of our departments. Street outreach workers are available. Those well-being checks have extended beyond senior facilities or homes where seniors live. But the strongest aspect of what's different from when I was in high school to today is the fact that there's stronger coordination between departments.
Chicago cooling centers across the city opened at 9 a.m. and will remain open until 5 p.m. You can call 311 for the cooling center nearest you. Well, the Obama Presidential Center has big plans for America's 250th anniversary. The Obama Presidential Center is celebrating what's called the People's 4th of July. On July 4th, the foundation is launching a summer series called You Are America, a free 8-week program that will feature events, performances, films, conversations, and community programs across the center's campus. The series celebrates the power of diverse voices, civic engagement, and community, and welcomes visitors from Chicago and from around the world. Many events are free. You can go to obama.org for full details. And as we inch closer to America's 250th birthday, marking exactly 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, AAA says today is a big travel day as people begin to hit the roads and the air for those extended holiday weekends. Now, despite high gas prices, AAA projects that a record 72.2 million Americans will travel, including 61.4 million on the roadways alone. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 10:38.
It's Rufus Williams. The thrill of summer is finally here, which also means it'll be over before we know it. This fall, the Rufus Williams Travel Club is heading to Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Join me as we experience the beauty, the brilliance, and the culture of one of America's most captivating cities. We'll enjoy the charm of the Lowcountry, breathtaking scenery, incredible cuisine, and the rich African-American history of Charleston. There will also be a few special surprises designed just for our group. So whether you're traveling alone, with family, or with friends, you'll be welcomed into an unforgettable experience filled with great people and great memories. Space is limited, and the best rates are right now. Simply go to WVON.com, click on the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner, and reserve your space. Advantage International is the official travel partner of the Rufus Williams Travel Club. Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Travel with people, travel with purpose, travel with us.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Payout via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
This report is sponsored by Audible. Come to Audible and discover the best selection of audiobooks without exception. Bestsellers, new releases, plus podcasts and exclusive Audible originals. You'll find everything you love all in one place. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
We're seeing some minor delays along DuSable Lakeshore Drive right now, northbound, right around Soldier Field. Pretty much some stop and go traffic just before Soldier Field, then stop and go all the way to Monroe. That's mainly due to several stoplight delays. As you make your way from Hollywood to Monroe, no major problems to report there. The Ryan is in pretty good shape. You're down to just about 17 minutes from 95th Street into downtown. Outbound things are clear. Things look good along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial. Nothing major happening along the Stevenson either. As you make your way inbound from I-355 to DuSable Drive, you're looking at just about a 40-minute trip in, outbound 40 as well. The Eisenhower still slightly busy, a 45-minute trip from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, 40 on the return. And things not bad at all on the Kennedy. In from O'Hare to downtown, a 27-minute trip. Getting to the airport, slightly busier at 29 minutes. Taking a look at our weather, we're seeing some bright skies, a little hazy though because of all the extreme heat and humidity. The National Weather Service says we're headed toward a daytime high well into the 90s. 94 is the official high, but we're getting word that we could top that. Temperatures tonight leveling off at around 78. Temperatures steadily climbing. We're up to 87 at Midway. It's 87 in Roseland and 87 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Far too many of you die. You know we gotta find a way to bring some love.
And we are back. The time is 10:42. I want to say good morning to everyone in the chat. Roosevelt, Quintella, Zenobia, Zaviola. I keep saying Zenobia. Zaviola. Lord help me. Preston, Jamarley, Charlene, Brother Wall, Shirley, Rufus, Katie, Reginald, I see you all. Be sure to like and share the show. Stephen, Rufus. That's Rufus McGee. Al Hubbard, I see you. Lee, Diane, MC Robinson, Lee Worthy. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank again the student ministers for coming to hang out with us. It means so much, particularly as we are preparing for the Janazah. That's right, to deliver the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, to be with Allah. May He be pleased. I'm excited to learn so much about her life and her contributions and to share it with you all. That I wrote out the forecast for the week, but that's how my brain works. I'm quick like that. I can't help it. And I want to share it, put it out there because I want you all to have something to look forward to. 72 years of marriage. God bless them. But yes, a book can be made. And I would actually read it. I really, truly would. Because Marriage is something to practice, and hard things are hard. But having a partner for life, it is a blessing. So I will continue to pray for the strength of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his family. And I've learned so much about Janazah. I'm excited to continue the conversation for those that want to be uplifted and educated in this moment when we think of our brothers and sisters throughout the Nation of Islam. Now, as we transition to talk about life and all the good things and the attributes of what it brings and pop that bubble, it's back to a turbulent Tuesday. Buckle up, Buttercup. Class is in session. Breaking news all across the airwaves and the papers and the mainstream news networks. Supreme Court's just ruled that states may ban trans athletes in girls' sports. So for all of you all that cut your nose to spite your face because you were concerned about said entity or said being playing in a sport that is girl-led, you accepted the poverty, your unwellness, and all the mayhem just for this moment. And I'm going to do a statistical concept of this moment in the days to come because I want to know, was it worth it? For all of what you got or are getting from the Trump administration, just for this win, was it worth it? And I guarantee you, somebody will say yes. I guarantee it. Here's another one. When it comes to vote by mail, Trump was struck down. That is pivotal because he is demanding that the Republicans pass the SAVE Act because midterms are coming. 122 days, 126 days left. And we've been in this war that he created for 122 days. You know, there was birthright citizenship. That too was struck down. I was wondering, was Trump going to allow them to come get baby Barron and a few of his children that he's created to be anchored here in America, along with his wife? Lucky for them, that was struck down. You know, I say this not facetiously, but directly, because I have a special guest that's going to join me in unpacking the concept that I wanted to pick up today, which was VBMs, vote by mail. And why is that important? Just last night, I was listening to The Whip. Shout out to the good bros. And I'm talking about James Clyburn, right out of South Carolina, who they thought they were going to gerrymander out of his district. And that fell flat in the courts and with his colleagues. He served for more than 3 decades in that seat. And yet and still, as a result of the racism, the uptick and turnout, particularly amongst Black voters, has jumped to more than 50%. It's not working. And when you think about the attack of vote by mail, there are certain states like California and Arizona that is completely their comfort level, and they do it flawlessly. And it is growing amongst the country for those that want to partake in the option to vote by mail. So Michael Kang is a nationally recognized expert on campaign finance, voting rights, redistricting, judicial elections, and corporate governance. He is the co-author with Joanna Shepard of Free to Judge, The Power of Campaign Money in Judicial Elections. His research has been published widely in leading law journals and featured in the New York Times, Washington Post, and Forbes, amongst others. This is important because there was also a ruling about campaign finance, which is why I talked about the ammunition is now locked and loaded. Thanks, SCOTUS. On the live line to join me in conversation is my special guest. Welcome to the Cleopatra Show, Michael Kang. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here on this breaking historical moment of SCOTUS throwing everything at the wall right before they go on vacation. So let's talk about what's sticking.
Sure. Yeah. The vote by mail issue that you raised is a decision that they reached yesterday. It's really the last day of the term today, so they're kind of getting all the decisions out really quickly. And that had to do with a law in Mississippi where they count ballots, mail ballots, that are postmarked by Election Day but received after Election Day. Some of the Republicans wanted to disallow those votes, that you had to receive, the state had to receive the ballots by Election Day for them to count. And the Supreme Court decided against them. So basically upheld the status quo where states can decide when they receive ballots, whether it's a few days after the elections or in California where it's a couple weeks. And the states can decide that and do it on their own schedule. And so the Supreme Court decided against kind of nationalizing that issue with this kind of weird interpretation of federal election day. So I think that was a good decision, and I'm glad it turned out that way.
I too agree. I think I don't know what to think. I think they being the administration are truly grasping for straws, but completely missing the beat in terms of like legislating. If you want certain things, then legislate for it. And to continue to go through SCOTUS, I want to talk about that. And SCOTUS being the Supreme Court justices, I'm just utterly appalled at this point with some of these rulings and the abuse of authority from your president, where we have real issues that have waited their due diligence and their turn to argue before the Supreme Court, and he just pops up and appears when he gets ready. How is that even possible?
Yeah, I agree. It's really unfortunate. The Supreme Court has been really, really aggressive when it comes to election law. The Calais decision, basically striking down the Voting Rights Act kind of earlier this year, is really a transformational decision. And we haven't even seen kind of the consequences for that. But you're right, especially about the mail voting issue that we're just talking about, is a really good example of where courts really shouldn't be involved. They should leave this to legislatures. And it doesn't even make sense for the Republicans. If you want to help Republicans, which clearly a lot of Republicans, that's their goal in trying to change election law, it's not clear making voting by mail harder really helps Republicans. It just makes it harder for everybody. And it doesn't necessarily hurt Democrats more than Republicans over the long run. The state defending the law, allowing kind of late receipt after Election Day of mail ballots in this case, was Mississippi. That's a state that's completely controlled by Republicans. And they wanted this rule, but because the Republican Party is kind of in the thrall of Trump and his obsession with what he thinks is election fraud, and that happens somehow through mail voting, they're kind of feeding his delusions about like why he lost the 2020 election and kind of distorting policy and going against their usual preference for having states decide things just to satisfy him. So it's a kind of crazy mission, especially when it comes to mail voting. But the kind of larger point about the court really changing election law in a fundamental way to help really, in the end, the Republican Party in ways that I think are really disturbing. That's a big problem. And I think you're right to worry about it.
It's all disturbing. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Michael Kang and I are unpacking some of the rulings from the Supreme Court justices. And I have a clip I'm going to play that I would love to get your take on the other side. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Black women face higher risk when breast cancer is detected late. Schedule your mammogram and encourage the women you love to do the same. And that's your healthy reminder.
This healthy reminder is sponsored in part by the South Suburban Chicago, Illinois chapter of the Lynx Incorporated and Vantive.
It's D.L. Hughley.
When you see things like what happened in Virginia, where they had a special election and expanded seats for the Democrats, Republicans have been putting their fingers on the scale of the elections forever. They've always done it. They've always gerrymandered. But now they have gerrymandered everything to the nth degree that they don't have any more room to gerrymander. And now these Democrats have picked up 10 to 12 seats. Even after this is all over, we got to get back to people who are involved in the pedophile ring. We got to get back to ICE brutalizing people. So the war is a distraction, but from some pretty horrible that we got to get back to.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Summer is here, the season of sunshine, fireworks, and the freedom to enjoy what matters the most. And at United Fidelity Bank, they believe freedom starts with smart savings. Whether you're grilling with friends, riding bikes with the family, or watching fireworks light up the night, your money should be working just as hard as you do. That's why this summer, you can open up a 6-month certificate of deposit with a 4.15% annual percentage yield. It's a simple, steady way to grow your savings without giving up the freedom of summer fun. At United Fidelity Bank, they don't just focus on numbers, they focus on you, your goals, your questions, and the kind of personal service you won't find at a big box bank. Because at United Fidelity Bank, you get the experience you need and the service you deserve. Stop by their Chicago flagship branch at 1701 West 87th Street to open your 6-month 4.15% APY CD today, or anytime at UnitedFidelity.com. United Fidelity Bank, where your summer of smart savings begins.
Rates subject to change at any time. CDs renew automatically to the standard rate in effect at the time of renewal unless instructed otherwise. Member FDIC.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition smart bed for a limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I think it's ironic that we control the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and the White House, and we're yelling election fraud. I mean, we won all the damn elections, and we're in charge, and what are we doing with it? We're bankrupting the country. We're starting new wars. We're violating the Constitution. We're not cracking down on the fraud. The problem is not the elections. We won the damn elections. The problem is we're wasting our opportunity that the voters gave us. And the Republicans are going to pay for that in November. It'll be an absolute shellacking if they don't wake up.
Listen, guys, we're back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:56. On the live line to indulge us in conversation is Michael Kang. And Michael, I have to get your response to Senator Thomas Massie.
Yeah, I think he's obviously not one of Trump's favorites. Trump has gone after him because he's willing to say things that are true about the party and about Trump's influence on the party. There's no election fraud. We know this. This has been proved so many times, kind of in court, by the failure of various kind of Republican institutions to try to prove it, by academics. There's just no systematic voter fraud that is causing Republicans to lose any elections and Democrats to win any elections. So that's a kind of obsession that really the Republican Party indulges in because of Trump, and it's distracting for them, and it gets them away from their policy priorities. Democrats may not agree with those policy priorities. They don't like the election fraud talk, but it probably hurts Republicans kind of over the longer run. And it really takes away from their effectiveness. And so maybe Democrats should be happy when Republicans obsess about voter fraud, because it really does, I think, hurt them, hurt the Republicans and the Republican Party policy agenda over the long term. I think Massey's right about that, actually.
I agree with you and Massie. Before I let you go, you co-authored the book, Free to Judge, The Power of Campaign Money in the Judicial Elections. What's your take on SCOTUS ruling of the GOP-backed push for no campaign refinance?
Yeah, on campaign finance. So what we've
Refinance,
seen is
finance, campaign finance reform. There you go.
Yeah, the Roberts Court has really deregulated campaign finance to a really significant degree, and they did today as well. There was a decision today allowing party coordinated spending with candidates, and I think the Roberts Court generally doesn't think that the government should regulate politics. Kind of generally, that's part of why they don't like the Voting Rights Act. And I think it's been a really terrible thing for American politics. You're seeing the rise of really big money donors kind of dominating politics, distorting policy decisions by the parties in weird ways. You're seeing that right now with crypto, for instance, and AI being really affected by these kinds of financial considerations by politicians, really on both sides on those issues. So I think this has been a really bad thing. I think you could make the argument that campaign finance might have been over-regulated at some point, but that's certainly no longer true at all. We're in the super PAC era where there's very little regulation, and we see the consequences of that all the time.
I have to have you back, Michael. I feel like this was way too short, and there's so much to unpack, because I think folks understanding the validity of, I refer to it as ammunition, big spending. You have all of these newly cemented billionaires, but 16 of them live here in Illinois. And, for some reason, they won't pay their fair share, but they would love to control the political landscape. And when you look at the big fish out there, the trillionaire, he's definitely one. And I'm talking about Elon Musk. So he's a threat to not only society, but what's left of our democracy. And I would love to unpack that with you. So you have to commit to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be thrilled to come back.
All right, cool. Well, listen, guys, I've had a blast with Michael Kang. I got to let him go. But when we come back, we're going to continue to talk about this Turbulent Tuesday, because there are a lot of rulings out here. And I think one of the bigger ones I would love to get your take on is transgendered and girls sports. One of the lowest hanging fruits, but yet many of you all cut your nose to spite your face. And I'm just curious to know, was it worth it? We'll be back after this break.
Hot and humid as temperatures climb well into the 90s. On this final day of June 30th, 2026, I'm Annette Flournoy, and in the headlines, a Chicago family is heartbroken and wants answers after a 57-year-old CTA worker was shot and killed during a carjacking while on the clock. There is a $10,000 reward in the case. Services for Khadijah Farrakhan, the wife of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, begins 10 a.m. tomorrow. Mother Khadijah will lie repose at the Mosque Mariam on South Stony Island Wednesday. Her Janazah is set for 11 a.m. Friday. And we remain under an extreme heat warning with humidity way up above yesterday and feel like temperatures well above 100. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the Voice of a Nation and the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM WVON, Irwin, Chicago. It's 11:02.
BIN News Now. 2 police investigations are underway in Livonia, Michigan, after police shot and killed a 61-year-old man Sunday night. The probe is being done by Michigan State Police. Livonia police are investigating a suspected explosion and arson at the man's home that started their investigation.
We went to the fireworks, and when we came back, the whole street was filled with police officers.
Police say he was found in a neighbor's backyard with a handgun when police arrived, and they shot him when he raised his gun toward them. Governor Mike DeWine is urging Ohioans to stay safe during the heat wave that is impacting the region this week. The governor says prolonged heat exposure is dangerous, and he wants everyone to take steps to protect themselves. And each member of the 2026 NBA champion New York Knicks will be honored with a street temporarily named after them in New York City. I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News. Now, back to you, Terry.
The U.S. Supreme Court delivering mixed news to President Trump in a series of decisions. The High Court found Trump cannot fire Black Federal Reserve Board member Lisa Cook, allowing her to remain on the job for now as she challenges allegations against her. The justices ruled that mail-in ballots received after Election Day can be counted if they're postmarked by Election Day. And the court rejected Trump's bid to overturn the verdict that found he sexually assaulted and defamed E. Jean Carroll. The High Court issuing the decision yesterday. The ruling means the $5 million civil judgment and the verdict will remain in place. President Trump says he's unsure if he'll sign the bipartisan housing bill. It's currently on his desk after it sailed through the House and Senate last week.
I think it's so unimportant by compared to the Save America Act.
Trump has held up its passage, pushing Republicans to kill the filibuster and instead pass his Save America voter ID bill first.
2026 is the year of affordability. The American people have been desperately seeking housing, and President Trump got it right in his State of the Union when he said housing should be for people and not for corporations.
South Carolina's Black Senator Tim Scott delivering a floor speech several days ago on the 21st Century Road to Housing Act passage, but Trump said everything is a yawn compared to passing the Save America Act. The housing bill is an attempt to address housing shortages. The fate of the legislation now rests with the president, and if Trump does not sign, the bill will become law with no action after 10 days, or he can decide to veto it. Stephen A. Smith is predicting that Democrats have a 75% chance of winning the midterm elections and gaining control of at least one of the chambers of Congress, but he says they could still blow it. Smith said Democrats get in their own way. They'll mess up anything if you give them an opportunity because they're divided. The Hill reports Smith went on to reference the progressive left, pointing out, in his words, what happened in New York with Zohran Mamdani and some of the candidates he endorsed. And then he blasted what Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to do in California. Smith said there's a level of progressivism that's taking hold in states like New York and California. Smith attended the Mark Twain Prize ceremony at the Kennedy Center over the weekend. Gunmen opening fire on a South African police official. Major General Faraz Khan was riding in his vehicle in Johannesburg days before he was expected in court for a high-profile inquiry into alleged corruption and criminal networks within the country's law enforcement. Khan, the suspended deputy head of crime intelligence, was wounded in the weekend attack and underwent emergency surgery. Authorities say an investigation into the incident is underway. The Madlanga Commission was established after serious claims by the lieutenant governor about organized crime infiltrating parts of the state and law enforcement agencies. Khan was among those called to give evidence after his name came to light during proceedings. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
Black Americans are at higher risk for stroke. Know the warning signs: face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Call 911 immediately.
Your health, our community, we're WDON.
It's Rufus Williams. The thrill of summer is finally here, which also means it'll be over before we know it. This fall, the Rufus Williams Travel Club is heading to Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Join me as we experience the beauty, the brilliance, and the culture of one of America's most captivating cities. We'll enjoy the charm of the Lowcountry, breathtaking scenery, incredible cuisine, and the rich African-American history of Charleston. There will also be a few special surprises designed just for our group. So whether you're traveling alone, with family, or with friends, you'll be welcomed into an unforgettable experience filled with great people and great memories. Space is limited, and the best rates are right now. Simply go to WVON.com, click on the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner, and reserve your space. Advantage International is the official travel partner of the Rufus Williams Travel Club. Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Travel with people, travel with purpose, travel with us.
WVON is celebrating Black Music Month with the Chicago Catalog, celebrating the legendary artist who gave the city its soundtrack. Brought to you by AARP. From the soul-stirring harmonies of The Impressions and Jerry Butler to the timeless brilliance of Donny Hathaway, Minnie Riperton, and Sam Cooke, Chicago's sound has always been bigger than the stage. We're honoring the funk and fire of Earth, Wind, and Fire, the unmatched voice of Shaka Khan, the poetry and power of Curtis Mayfield, and the global movement born from Chicago house music. The Chicago Catalog is more than a music series. It's a love letter to the artists, innovators, and culture shapers who turned Chicago into one of the greatest music cities in the world. The Chicago Catalog is an exclusive feature of WVON and brought to you by AARP, a proud supporter of Black Music Month.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. Thousands of homeowners have trusted Blindster.com for their blinds that are easy to order, affordable, and guaranteed to fit. You measure at home, install yourself, and enjoy blinds made exactly for your windows. Blindster.com.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
Soon I will be there, yeah, to brighten up even your darkest night. You just
And we are back. The time is 11:09. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And we've had some explosive conversation, but not as explosive as these rulings coming out of the Supreme Court. It is very interesting, and the phone lines are yours. We opened up with a message from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. As he talked to us about life, he also discussed the angel of death and the preparation one must make, particularly going through the journey of life. As we feel pain, we are also burdened with the understanding of grief. I thought that message was most befitting as I continue to give tribute and honor to the life of the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, who has made her transition to be with Allah, may he be pleased, at the tender age of 90, with 72 years of marriage with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I had with us earlier 2 scoops of student ministers, both student minister brother Abel Muhammad and student minister brother Jeffrey Muhammad, to pour into us Janazah. And I thought it was so special. I want us to embrace the opportunity to be poured into so that we aren't ignorant, because the show enough is bliss. And I think that's so critical to be culturally aware and spiritually in tune so that we have an understanding rooted in respect. For those of us that desire to pay homage, now you know how to. Flowers are for those that are living. Eulogies aren't a part of Janazah, nor do they make space for sad songs, because it weighs heavy on the family. And the goal of Janazah is to uplift the spirit. I want us to really understand that. Because traditionally, for those that practice in Christian faith and other disciplines or other practices of belief, Catholics and others, you may not be familiar with that. But now you are. No different than when I attended my first Buddhist funeral. I was not familiar. And I appreciate this moment to be a part of the education and the literacy, because tomorrow's Thursday, and she will lie in state right there at the Mosque of Miriam on 73rd and Stony Island. And I just wanted, for those that plan to attend and or support, to now be in the know. And every day this week, I will continue to pay tribute to her. I am proud to do that. because I feel as though it is our responsibility as Black media just to do that and then some. So let this not be the last. And you all know I'm no stranger to uplifting the powerful voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I actually enjoy it so much, and I appreciate just learning just a little bit more about him and his love for his wife. I thought that that was so special. Now I'm going to turn an ire to this foolishness. The phone lines are yours, 773 591 1690. And we're going to talk about SCOTUS. That's right, the Supreme Court rulings that are undeniable in this moment. States may ban trans athletes from girl teams. For those that are excited and celebrating, I want to hear from you. It's a win for you. Now, what does it do for you is the question, but it's a win for you. Those that are celebrating the strike down of birthright citizenship. You know, I it's a win, right? The fact that the Supreme Court did not uplift that, it is a win. Now, what happens to the nearly million plus people of color, immigrants that have been kicked out the country? I'm not necessarily sure. When it comes to vote by mail, that is a win. If you vote by mail, the Supreme Court justices have ruled to not only protect it, but to support it, particularly when it arrives postmarked. See, we can read the rule book, but it depends on what iteration they want to play by. So there were some wins and there were some losses, particularly for the party that was opposed and the party that was, for it. But here, as citizens, what are you celebrating in this moment? I keep hearing the eve of the 250 birth anniversary of the United States. Friday is the day prior to the 4th of July, and I'm going to do a special segment. I can't spill that tea, but I'm going to do a special segment. But somebody is celebrating, and I would like to hear from you. Now, I saw it in the chat, 773-591-1690. Somebody's requesting that I play something. I'm going to look at that. Birthright citizenship was struck down, but SCOTUS said ICE can target people based on race, occupation, language. That's concerning. And that's been concerning. They've given them carte blanche to hunt people. That's been concerning based off how they feel. I was just telling some colleagues, and I may cover this story. A young teen was in his mariachi uniform, and he was leaving his mariachi band. He was driving home, and he was pulled over. And, of course, ICE detained him, and they told him, they said, if you sing in your uniform, we might let you go. So not only are we going to dehumanize this young person, we're going to humiliate him, and we're going to taunt him and make him beg for his freedom. And that made somebody in that uniform feel special. That made them feel good to denigrate that young person. And I think that that is cruel and ugly and quite disgusting and pathetic. Now, kudos to that young guy for having the wisdom to know that they weren't, and the decency and the integrity to not fall victim to the buffoonery ask. Shout out to him. But it's sad that they've roped him, and in order to let him go, they taunted him. I need for us to understand the wordplay right here. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch whoever by the toe. But if he holler, I ain't gonna let him go. I'm going to the phone lines. Let's talk to Lionel. Lionel, welcome to WVON. You gotta cut your music down or your radio. Hello. I'm going to put them back on hold. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Heart disease remains one of the leading health concerns in our communities. Eating healthier, staying active, and managing stress can help keep your heart strong. And that's your healthy reminder.
This healthy reminder is sponsored in part by U Chicago Medicine.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart, it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition smart bed for a limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Matt McGill.
My brother Carl West, that's my style. You can use it there. It's some cocoa butter.
What y'all doing with cocoa butter, man? What y'all doing in here? It's like puffy with baby oil, man. What are y'all doing with just cocoa butter laying around? And it's just wide open for anybody to stick their fingers in. Who's going to use this, man? I don't know whose hands been inside of here, man. Trader Joe's, they went coconut butter. They even abbreviated.
I know, right?
I don't want that.
Weekdays at noon on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Can you feel it? The soundtrack of our lives. A Ravinia Black Music Month feature showcasing music that makes us think, love, cry, feel, act, and move. Music that reflects our stories. Can you feel it? The soundtrack of our lives.
The 1973 Sound of Philadelphia featuring the 3 Degrees Soul Train theme song.
Ravinia, celebrating Black Music Month. Experience the transformative power of live music. Get tickets at ravinia.org.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
So happy, loving you has made me feel so fine.
And we are back. The time is 11:21, and you're listening to the Cleopatra Show. It's a turbulent Tuesday, and I'm going straight to the phone lines. 773-591-1690. Let's talk to Lionel. Let's see if he got it together. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, we got you now. What's on your mind? Welcome to the Cleopatra Show.
Thank you so much for taking the call. We just want to say to you, Cleopatra, you is so special, and we honor you. And I know we're giving on also to Farrakhan, Mr. Farrakhan, who we love and respect, his wife. Amen. We appreciate that, but you are so special to us. I just want to let you know that all that you do, we love you, Cleopatra. And I just want to say that to you.
Oh, I really appreciate that. That means so much. Thank you.
Yeah, God bless you. Okay.
Likewise. Listen, I appreciate that. For what it's worth, I ain't turning down nothing but my collar. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's talk to Ernst. Ernst, welcome. Oh, is it Ernest?
Hey, Ernest, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, about the Supreme Court decisions, Cleopatra, elections have consequences. If you don't have a Democratic Senate, this is what you get, because only the Senate approves judges that the president nominates. And if we take a little bit of a history lesson, I blame two people for the Supreme Court makeup, just two. Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Barack Obama. Let me say why. It's going to take me 30 seconds. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the moment she found out she had cancer, she should have stepped down and allowed, I think it was Obama at the time, to choose her replacement. She didn't do that stubbornly. And I blame Barack Obama because when you nominated Merrick Garland, you ticked all the sisters off, and they were not going to support. They publicly said it was our turn. We're not going to lay one finger for this nominee. That allowed Mitch McConnell to do what he did. He wouldn't have done that with Loretta Lynch. He tried that when Obama nominated her to be Attorney General, and he ended up backing off. So those are the two people I blame for the makeup of the Supreme Court.
No, you have no fight with me there. Good call. You know, I got into I can't even say a tit for tat, but I got into a sparring match with what I considered at the time a friend when folks were just dying in seats. I can name a few. But when you get to a point where you don't even know what room you're in, and the fact that we've allowed you to sit there because you've garnered seniority and you finally arrived is a very difficult place to be in for me to accept, which is why I rebuke our political approaches to progression. We'll never get there on this track. It just won't happen. And the fact that seniority is based off how long you've been there and not the work you've done doesn't make no sense to me. Sorry, doesn't make any sense. And all that means is you've done playing inner politics well. I'm not talking about the work you've done for the people. So to Ernest's point, as dynamic of a champion Ruth Bader Ginsburg was, I'm not even talking about the moment you knew you had cancer. We're all getting older. Every moment and every minute that I'm speaking, we're aging. That's not waiting on anyone. Some of us look like what we've been through the process. And yet and still, it should not have took for an illness that ultimately had an inevitable fate to motivate you, because internally I can tell you felt it because her body was breaking down as well. So I just think at this point, when do we do things differently? Particularly, case in point, Mayor Mamdani and his face off with Minority Leader Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. I'm sure the New York Dems are petrified at this moment because they are not keen on the approach to the eruption of not only Mamdani, but Mamdaniism, right? Let me give birth to it. This concoction of this democratic socialist with progressive values that is wildly popular and just flexed a whole muscle and brought in an entourage on the congressional level, where the power of the purse and the power of the pen legislatively is held. That boy is a threat. That man is dangerous. But why? If the goal is to move the needle of society to a progressive lens that is for all, what makes him a threat? Because he's perceived to not be controlled. That's why I like him. I like him a lot. Sounds to me like a free man. And the concept of freedom is what the experiment is being tested right now. And this battle before SCOTUS and the survival of what are to be these United States of America. That is what is at stake. So let me be even more clear. There was a report that was redacted that allegedly said that Scalito was going to retire. And I was talking with a colleague that thought that was a good thing. And I was like, no, that's horrible. because that's what they're waiting for. So here's what I hope happens to the caller. I need them all to not only live, but to live and continue onward, so that when the paradigm shift of political power changes, as it has historically done and will do, that we take a real signature page out of the GOP handbook and we turn the page to something younger. For some reason, particularly here in Illinois, we rebuke youngsters that want their bite at the political apple. All right. But nationwide, they got it. And nationwide, what I see the Grand Old Party doing under the Trump regime is ensuring that their legacy lives onward with those that have more time ahead of them, depending on how they believe, than behind them. So we need to really make a keen investment on maximizing how we treat our youth, how we invest in our youth, and how we continue to uplift our youth. Because as I told my scholars from Club Owners United Scholarship, those that I granted scholarships just this Sunday, that I've been doing for nearly a decade, I look every last one of them in the face and I tell them, you're going to save this country. You're going to save the world. And for those that believe, as I believe, in young people, they will do just that if we give them the tools to be successful. So I'm glad Scalito is not going to retire, because I don't need him to retire, because the threat of something younger and more dangerous lurks in the bushes behind him. But for when the axles do turn on the political party that will be in charge and be the party of power, it is very important that we prepare our young people, because they are going to save the world. We'll be back after this break.
Early detection saves lives. Routine screenings and regular doctor visits can help identify serious health concerns before symptoms even begin. And that's your healthy reminder.
This healthy reminder is sponsored in part by U Chicago Medicine.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ansel Johnson, Clinical Director at Vision Salon Eye Care Associates. Good vision isn't a luxury. It's essential to everything that you do, from digital devices, driving, reading, even watching your grandchildren grow. Our team brings over 50 years of combined experience and treats every patient like family. We carry a variety of eyewear, including some African-American collections that fit you, your prescription, and let you express your true style. And if you're living with diabetes, glaucoma, or hypertension, our expert care can help you protect your vision for the years ahead. Don't wait. Call or text 708-385-0013. Again, 708-385-0013 for an appointment, or visit visionsalon.com today. Be well, see well, and be blessed.
Don't take your vision for granted. Optometrist Dr. Ansel Johnson and Vision Salon can see what you can't. For eye care and eyewear, visit visionsalon.com.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Muggy and hot today as temperatures climb well into the 90s. Good morning. I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening. This week, the Chicago Financial Future Task Force, an independent group of civic and business leaders, releases final proposals to strengthen Chicago's long-term financial future. Jim Reynolds, founder and CEO of Loop Capital, along with Karen Freeman Wilson, CEO of the Chicago Urban League, joined Rufus Williams this morning in a conversation about how they co-led the efforts along with 23 others. Now, some of the highest impact ideas was a call for major state intervention.
Think about putting stopgap measures into a problem that gets worse every year. It just exacerbates the issues. So when you look at the cost of pensions, the cost of debt, the cost of public safety, that takes up almost 80% of the budget, which leaves only 20% to do all of the other things that we've become accustomed to, and quite frankly, we depend on. Filling potholes, cutting trees, doing the things that creates curb appeal all over the city.
The mayor gave us open access to everything in the city. Every single number we wanted to see, he gave us. We had to sign NDAs, and it was very sensitive information, but they really wanted to, because we couldn't give good information without good data. And he gave it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. The other thing that jumps out at you when you dig down deep into these numbers, to your question, is what we did would be virtually impossible for a politician to do. And what I mean by that, not understanding what we did, because that's pretty straightforward, actually doing it.
Now, they reviewed tweaking income tax rates, taxing services like accounting and landscaping, restructuring electricity tax rates, and changing debt collection policies. The mayor has already launched a series of listening sessions in preparation of his 2027 budget proposal. Services for Khadijah Farrakhan, the wife of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is set to start 10 a.m. tomorrow. Mother Khadijah will lie repose at the Mosque Miriam on South Stony Island Wednesday. She will be buried at Oakwood Cemetery in the Greater Grand Crossing neighborhood. She was known as Mother Khadijah and the First Lady of the Nation of Islam. She worked alongside Minister Farrakhan to help lead the nation's social and political endeavors. The couple raised 9 children and were married 72 years. She was 90 years old. And a Chicago family is heartbroken and wants answers after a CTA worker was shot in the chest and later died during a carjacking while on the clock. Perry Williams has more.
Police say Thomas Barlow was gunned down early yesterday morning during a carjacking. He was a switch operator and he was outside a rail maintenance facility on 98th Street when the shooting happened. CTA union officials continued their call for stronger protections for transit workers.
One life lost is one too many. We cannot allow another, not one more.
No one is in custody. I'm Perry Williams.
Cook County Crime Stoppers is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 11:36.
You never know who's going to stop by WVON.
He was the man in the middle, the one and only Bill Cartwright.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Out of Stanford, playing for the Los Angeles Sparks. She's none other than Cameron Brink.
Thank you for having me.
So happy and honored to have with us Mr. Mark Aguirre, 2-time NBA champion. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Not bad at all.
We are the talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Hey, Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. Thousands of homeowners have trusted Blindster.com for their blinds that are easy to order, affordable, and guaranteed to fit. You measure at home, install yourself, and enjoy blinds made exactly for your windows. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Things are nice and quiet along the Ryan as you make your way from 95th Street to downtown. You'll move along at the posted speed, outbound as well. Things look pretty good on the inbound side of the Bishop Ford. No problems or delays to report. On the outbound side, we are seeing some construction zone delays from 130th Street to 159th. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial in pretty good shape. Things are quiet right now along DuSable Lakeshore Drive each way. If you're on the Stevenson, you are moving along at just about 40 minutes from I-355 to DuSable Drive 40, traveling out. The Eisenhower, right now, the heaviest of them all, where you're looking at just about a 45-minute trip from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. Give yourself 40 on the return. And the Kennedy bumped up to 35 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, also a 35-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, hazy and hot. The National Weather Service says we're going to see some extreme humidity in our area, much higher than yesterday. We're headed toward a daytime high in the mid-90s, but we are expected to experience some feel-like temperatures of above 100. Right now, temperatures are steadily climbing. We made it up to 88 at Midway. It's 88 in North Lawndale and 88 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Vernoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This Christmas, and as we trim the tree, how much fun it's gonna be together. This Christmas, firesides blazing bright. We're caroling through the night, and this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me.
And we are back. The time is 11:40. Let me tell you, Matt be paying some attention to me. I do love Donny Hathaway. I saw the Donny Hathaway production on Broadway, and it was fantastic, my husband and I. And the life he led and the trials and tribulations, my goodness. But it is one of my favorite songs. So if you're wondering why we're playing Christmas music at the height, at the start, at the onset of summer, is because it's Donny Hathaway all day. This Black Music Month, WVON is proud to present the Chicago Catalog, a celebration of the artists who gave Chicago its soundtrack, sponsored by AARP. Today's feature, Donny Hathaway, raised in Chicago. Hathaway became one of soul music's most gifted singers, pianists, and songwriters, leaving behind timeless classics like A Song for You and unforgettable duets with Roberta Cleopatra Flack. I got to always say that. For those that didn't know Roberta Flack's middle name, let me tell you, it is Roberta Cleopatra Flack. And I've learned that through the production, they were very good friends. Fun fact, Donny Hathaway received a full scholarship to Howard University to study music, but left before graduating after being discovered by Curtis Mayfield's court records. How do I say this? Cortum Records, launching one of the most influential careers in soul music. Another fun fact, that is how Roberta Cleopatra Flack and Donny Hathaway met, right there at Howard University. I can add all day to this. I love Donny Hathaway. I didn't know how he was discovered, but it does make sense. Listen, we're going to continue to uplift. I know Black Music Month comes to a conclusion because we're at the end of June, but it's so much talent that makes America great. And this hodgepodge, this melting pot is real. Now, to my next guest, speaking of melting pot, there's some big facts coming out that is going to have a shift, a tectonic shift in the city of Chicago and throughout parts of Cook County. Workers will see higher minimum wages starting tomorrow, July 1, as local officials and worker advocates launch their annual Check Your Check campaign to educate employees and employers about the new pay rates and workplace protections. The increases come as many families continue to face rising living costs. On the live line is a RISE organizer, and the RISE organizer, ED, is phenomenal. So I know he got to be good. It's Jose Uribe. Jose, welcome to the Cleopatra Show.
Hi, Cleopatra. Thank you so much for having us on, and a happy Black Music Month to you. Donnie was gone way too soon, only 34 years old, 33. But thank you for having us.
No, I thank you. Yeah, he was young, but as I grow older, need I not question, because I'm just going to take my time. Much time as I can, especially because it's borrowed. Let me not question what's going on. But here's what I do want to question. This is a big win, a big breakthrough, particularly for working families. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, so the minimum wage is going up here in the city of Chicago. It was $16.60 through the end of June here. That's today. It's going up to $17.05 an hour starting tomorrow. Overtime going up to $25.58 an hour. Some bigger news that relate to the minimum wage. It's all big news, but bigger news. They are eliminating the sub-minimum wage for disabled workers and for youth workers in the city of Chicago from tomorrow forward. So that minimum wage rate I just said applies to everyone working in the city in workplaces or employers with 4 or more workers, and that is a big deal. The tipped minimum wage is going up as well. It's going up to $12.96, overtime $21.49 an hour. And of course, this is all welcome news because, as you mentioned, and we can't say it enough, the cost of living is just too high. The rent's too damn high, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is needed, and I will say, not to dampen it, but this is a move in the right direction. But we need to see more of this. The sad reality is people are struggling to get by. So every last dollar matters. Every last cent counts. So we welcome the city doing this, and we want to see this continue.
And talk to us about the population it impacts. Give us the demographics.
Yeah, so this impacts a lot of people who are working in blue collar and in service sectors, right? And that primarily tends to be Latinos, immigrants, African Americans, people of color, broadly speaking. So it's a lot of hardworking people who make this city run, who just don't make enough and need to be making more. But that's primarily who is impacted by these minimum wage increases.
And for those that are looking at the chops to nudge in the rhetoric, I want you to myth bust. Who pays for this?
Who pays for what exactly? I'm sorry.
So when we talk about an increase can only overflow from somebody that is going to be the contributor. Is it is the burden on the employer? Is it coming from the taxpayers? With this shift and this increase, who carries this burden? Who owns this in terms of feeding the opportunity to grow livable wages?
Sure. So I do appreciate you taking a very holistic look at this. Ultimately, what we need to recognize here is that what produces earnings is labor, and labor comes from the sweat of the brow from people who do the work, right? So what I mean when I say something like that, when you go into a restaurant and you consume a meal, the person who cooked that meal was more than likely making the minimum wage. The person who brought you that food at your table is more than likely a tip worker who is making a corresponding minimum wage. And that is how all of this works and runs. But at the end of the day, what we need to keep in mind is that we are both workers and consumers in this economy. If we're going to keep things running, if we're going to keep the lights on, people employed, businesses running, a roof over our heads, that all costs money. And so we all have a role to play in that economy, no matter what our position is economically, whether we work, whether we are an employer or anything else in between. So it's a shared responsibility, right? We all need to ensure that people have what it takes to live. And that is at the heart of the minimum wage, right? Even though, as I've mentioned a couple of times now, that minimum wage here in Chicago and everywhere, admittedly needs to be higher.
So let me drill down on that. So
yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm specifically asking for those that there will be some group that will fearmonger the hell out of us to say that burden is going to go to the taxpayer, right?
Sure,
In terms of increasing. And I'm asking you specifically, when we hear the wages are going to go up for tip workers, which I respectfully support, and then some, who is responsible for ensuring that that wage goes up? Is it the employer? Is it the taxpayer? Who is actually paying for that wage to increase?
Right. So the employers would be paying those higher wages.
So I want as simple as it is, there will be, and you know it, mail at your door, threatening that because your property taxes are going up, that's going to be a part of the tip. You know, folks would just flat out lie in these shell companies that are creating and incubating these false messages. It is my responsibility and yours to myth bust and put the fact out there, the employer. And when we come back, I want to talk about the employer because there's been some record-breaking profits of employers, CEOs, chairmen, whatever they want to be called. And they're making all the money and the workers are barely scraping to get by. And it is a reason why this tectonic shift is happening tomorrow to ensure not only that folks can survive and be able to live here, but make it affordable. Affordability is on the ballot up and down the country. But your president, Jose, says it's a hoax. But your fight for working families dispels that. When we come back, we're going to talk more about it.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
It's D.L. Hughley.
When you see things like what happened in Virginia, where they had a special election and expanded seats for the Democrats, Republicans have been putting their fingers on the scale of the elections forever. They've always done it. They'd always gerrymandered. But now they have gerrymandered everything to the nth degree that they don't have any more room to gerrymander. And now these Democrats have picked up 10 to 12 seats. Even after this is all over, we got to get back to people who are involved in the pedophile ring. We got to get back to ICE brutalizing people. So the war is a distraction, but from some pretty horrible that we got to get back to.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. It's the afternoon show.
You got to remember, when we do it, it's called flued out.
We flew them.
Girl, he flew me out.
Oh my! Don't. Why are you putting my people down?
No, I'm just so. That's what we call it. That's what it is.
Out. You've had this conversation with someone.
I flew people out.
You flew people. I mean, flown people out. Now you got me saying.
If somebody telling me you flew me out, no, I'm not flying you nowhere after you just said that. I'm not.
I said I was about to until you said that.
Right.
The afternoon show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Just don't let the spin get you down. Things are moving fast.
And we are back, guys. And we're talking to Arise. That's right. Arise has a fantastic organizer, and I just adore his executive director and their work for working families, their fight for working families, their continued support of working families. And tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow, minimum wage is going up in the city of Chicago and throughout parts of Cook County. And I think that this is real. And who's responsible for paying their fair share as employers. They could pay more. And I want to talk about employers, Jose, because there have been some record-breaking profits that just have not trickled down to the worker. Help us expound upon that. Break that down.
Yeah, of course. I think that the president of the UAW, the United Auto Workers Union, Sean Fain, said it very well. And what he said is that record profits should mean record contracts and record wage increases for workers. And that's exactly what is at the heart of this conversation, right? Workers are the ones who generate the earnings for these companies, and workers should see their fair share in that conversation. And that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen absent workers organizing. It doesn't happen without things like strong unions and a union contract. And, that's very much related to this conversation about the minimum wage increasing. If I put it another way, the reason we have minimum wage laws, whether it's in Chicago, in the county, and other parts of the United States, we have them because if your employer could pay you less, they would sure as heck try to do that, right? I'm paying you the minimum wage because the law says I have to.
That's so horrible. With everything up and affordability being on the ballot, and the posture, the defiant stance of your President Donald John Trump, just today, he said he is not giving any energy to signing the bill to support housing across the country until the Grand Old Party delivers his SAVE Act. He said he won't give it any energy, but he also told us not even a little bit will he relate to the pain we feel in his 122-day war that he created. I want to talk about affordability because it won big in New York. It won big in New York, but I believe New Yorkers understand that it is life or death. What does it take to have that same fire, that same determination here in Chicago to get behind some of these key issues that will transform our quality of life?
And that is quite a question, Cleopatra. So it's a fight, that's for sure. But what it takes at its very core is people recognizing what government's role needs to be and what we, as members of the electorate, as people who vote and participate in civic life, have to take on as our responsibility, right? So we need to hold our elected officials accountable, and we need to be motivating and running candidates who stand behind working families and the issues that matter to all of us. And unfortunately, what our political system looks like, certainly at the federal level right now, by and large, are people who have been given the ability to rubber stamp their way to just hold their office as the incumbent cycle after cycle. And increasingly voters feeling disillusioned, saying, you know what, it's all the same. Why participate? Why vote? And the reason that things are looking so encouraging in places like New York City with the new Mamdani administration is because people rallied behind a candidate who is willing, more than willing is not the word, who is enthusiastic about bringing the fight and bringing the priorities of the larger majority, the plurality of people in New York City, and making those central, right? Things like affordable housing, things like increasing the minimum wage, in investing in the agencies and authorities that protect those laws, that go after wage abusers, in making the city a more welcoming, vibrant, safe place to live, universal pre-K. There's a whole bunch of things that we're hearing from New York City that we would do well to do in Chicago and to implement across the country. It's amazing. But
here's what I will say, Jose.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mamdani sounds a lot like what we have in Chicago, but I don't know if Chicago can hear it. And what we have in Chicago is a mayor that has been committed to the same principles, same beliefs, and has went extra hard to not only withhold that, but to bring home Chicago. And that fell flat with a lot of contentious efforts from the right. And I am referring to our mayor, your mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I asked, what does it take to have that same fire and brimstone? And I think the distinct difference between a New Yorker and a Chicagoan right now is that they recognize that death is on the other side.
Mm.
I do. They've accepted it's life or death, and they recognize that it's so close they can see it. Here, I don't know if we can see it, but I do believe that are those that can feel it, which is why working families are fighting so hard, but it cannot be insular nor singular. It has to be a collective. Right. And all of the New Yorkers, right, have also realized is this or we toast. So I think that there's a stark reality that makes a Mom Donnie a sin juxtaposed to a Johnson that is falling on deaf ears because of the machinery that runs this city. And it is a fact. So I'm grateful for your work at Arise. I want to be with you all in the celebration of this milestone, but understand that the work and the fight goes onward because this is not enough, but we are tipping in the right direction. All pun intended.
That's exactly right.
Well, don't let this be your last time to come hang out with me because I want you to report back regularly because somehow or another, we have to inspire. We have to promote this fire, this opportunity to not only bring home Chicago, but for those that are still fighting to survive Chicago, to have the same spirit as a New Yorker. As they celebrate a Mom Donnie, I want them to bring that extra energy for Mayor Johnson because the only difference that separates the two of them is color. And even in that color, they are both colored. So I'm still confused as what's the difference because the message is the same.
I agree. Our mayor, Brandon Johnson, is doing some amazing things, and we got to have his back. And I'm right there with you. There's work to be done, and we're going to keep on doing it. And that definitely, Cleopatra, next time you want us back on the show, I'm excited to come back. Would love to come back.
Excellent. I look forward to it. Listen, guys, tomorrow, I want you all to be with me. That's right. Tomorrow's Fired Up Wednesday, and I'm coming in piping hot. As we're breaking down all of this breaking news, I told you all, we're going to continue to uplift and bring some vibration, some positive spirit. That's right, to the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. As I continue to raise up all of her excellence, she's raised women around the country, not just this nation. And I think that is so special. So stay tuned for a special segment only on the Cleopatra Show. And I'm coming in fired up because it's Wednesday. If you're late, bring a tardy pass at 9 a.m.
I hope you're making the best of this grand and glorious day. I'm Kayla Patton, and in the headlines, Chicago leaders are urging residents to take precautions as extreme heat continues across the city. Tributes continue to pour in following the death of Khadijah Farrakhan, the wife of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And this week, the Chicago Financial Future Task Force, an independent group of civic and business leaders, released its final proposals to strengthen Chicago's long-term financial future. The Black Information Network is next on Chicago's original social media platform, 1690 AM, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
BIN News Now. 2 police investigations are underway in Livonia, Michigan, after police shot and killed a 61-year-old man Sunday night. The probe is being done by Michigan State Police. Livonia police are investigating